So you guys know I've been covering Hedera for a while, and some really great stuff happening on the chain in September. Thanks to the Hedera Foundation, we got a nice little recap of everything that happened last month as we go into almost done with October, actually. So interesting that they're putting this out now, but I'm going to take a look at what Hedera has been up to. This is right from the Hedera Foundation. Like I said, news moves fast in crypto. Everything moves faster in Hedera. In case you missed it, September was a month of industry first for DeFi and RWAs on the network. Let's see, last month we had two industry firsts with Archax, the launch of pool tokens, unlocking on-chain multi-asset portfolios, enabling institutional investors with new ways to build, transfer, and manage diversified baskets of assets. I meant to say they said of asset, it should have said assets. And LBG Place in Aberdeen used Hedera-based RWA as collateral for foreign exchange through Archax, signaling institutional finance moving from pilots to production on public blockchain infrastructure. I'm always worried about playing these clips, by the way, because they always have music, and that gets me in trouble with the ad reads and all that. Following the RWA developments, Swarm Markets launched DeFi-compatible tokenized stocks like Apple and Tesla on Hedera. And, you know, I've been focusing on Ondo doing this a lot, but it's cool to see Hedera doing this well. I got some news around RWA and Hedera to share a little bit later as well. RWA being real-world assets, so stuff like, in this case, you know, we're talking about stocks, but then also that can mean like real estate. We've covered some of that stuff. And you can just put those on chain. It makes it a lot easier to trade them, to earn yield from them, that sort of thing. To increase access for users to explore these developments, we led the launch of Stargate Finance on Hedera, enabling canonical wrapped ETH to be transferred between Hedera and 40 other connected chains. So always nice to have those interoperability options. Speaking of complementing these efforts, Hashport Network, the native Hedera bridge, launched its HBAR faucet, giving users a small HBAR balance to cover initial fees so that they can explore DeFi on Hedera. By the way, we were supposed to have Hashport on this week, a little bit of a scheduling snafu on their end, so we had to cancel at the last minute. Hopefully bring them back on at some point. That was going to be my first Hedera interview, so I was a little disappointed, to be honest, but it happens. Saucer Swap Labs, the leading DEX on Hedera, followed up with breakout Q3 numbers. And we covered this. You know, we actually talked about this on an earlier video. Trading volume climbed 88% to 974 million, while TVL grew 67% to 99 million. And active users increased 23% quarter over quarter, reaching 9,858. I gotta say, I like some of the DeFi stuff they have on there. I'm very confused by this sauce staking because I staked it and I don't know what happened to it. I'm a little concerned about that. I didn't have like a ton, but still. Moving away from DeFi, Dead Pixels Club demonstrated novel NFT mechanics through its Forever Mint mechanism, driving 57,194% trading volume increase, surpassing many other mainstream NFT projects. And I don't know if you've seen this. I think these are kind of cool. They're just cute. They're very cute. I like them. Here's a little example of some of the pixels there. Kind of a neat little thing, I think. Meanwhile, AEL launched its Digital Underground Social Fi platform on Hedera, blending webpunk aesthetics with an innovative new social experience. So that sounds is that the one I looked at and I was like, I still don't know what this is. I think that might be the one where I'm still very confused on what it actually is. Oh, and we covered this too. HBAR and SWE available on Robinhood Legend. So Robinhood adding HBAR and SWE. Still haven't added Algorand, which, you know, I was a little torqued about before. It's a lot of cool stuff. Even Deb Pixel saying thanks for the shout out. You can mint some random ghosts. I wonder what they cost. Let's see what this is gonna. They were pretty expensive before. So remember, Hedera is about 16 cents right now, and yeah, it's 22.50. So that's still kind of expensive. I don't want to do public math, but that's still a lot. That's a few $100s. I like them, but I don't know if I like them that much. And that is not all. You know, USDC liquidity is really important. Stablecoin liquidity is really important for blockchains, and we see Hedera's USDC is now live on BitCub Official, bringing access to 5 million plus users across Thailand. So adding a little bit of liquidity there for USDC on Hedera, always good to see. What else we got here? That's not it. So this is from Sentiment. I like this. I'm still not following them. I should follow them for sure. Here are crypto's top real-world assets by development. Directional indicators represent each project's ranking rise or fall in the last month. Chainlink #1, and you guys know I cover Chainlink a lot. Nice to see that, but Hedera at #2. And it's got the little up symbol, so it must have moved up compared to before. Good to see that. Yeah, I like to see Hedera up there. And this is, let's see, how is this? It says, well, they pull GitHub activity data from project repositories and why it's so useful. I'll talk a little bit more about why it's useful for crypto trading. I just think it's good to know what's going on in the ecosystem. I don't see Algorand here, so that's something to take note of. Hedera here at #2. That's really nice to see. I'm starting to think maybe I put more money on Hedera. I'm starting to think that's where I'm going. We'll see. And by the way, staking is at 2.5%. Actually, I think that is on my... It's actually not, I don't have that pulled up, but staking is at now 2.5%. So you can earn staking when you're holding your Hedera and staking it to a node. And I thought this was pretty cool. I think this is worth talking about. Hedera is proud to take part in the Bank of England MBIS org DLT Innovation Challenge, exploring how central bank money could be transacted on external programmable ledgers. Hedera looks forward to contributing insights on the role of DLT in the future of the financial infrastructure. You know, I put stuff like this, I kind of put stuff like this on the boring but important. And what do I mean by that? It's like the stuff that like no one gets excited about. Ooh, Bank of England, finance, you know, behind the scenes finances. But hey, they're in this challenge, and you know, having the Bank of England working with Hedera could be a pretty big deal, I think. By the way, I like that hat. Someone want to send me a hat like that? I'd wear it on the show for sure. I definitely would. I think I already talked about this. Let's see. Oh, this is from Bonzo Finance Labs. By the way, I like that name, Bonzo. Bonzo Finance. I want to follow Bonzo Finance. They seem fun. The Hedera ecosystem asset prices on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap are not functioning properly. This is believed to be related to a Hedera codebase update 2+ weeks ago. Ecosystem teams are working to remediate it. For accurate prices, please see Saucer Swap Labs. So if you were on Bonzo Finance Labs and you're worried about the asset prices, I definitely want to go to Saucer Swap Labs. You know, that might be a good place to go actually for our crypto updates too. And we've lowered Saucer Swap interface fees from 0.4% to point. This is Saucer Swap Labs. And I think it's the last thing we want to kind of cap off with here is that we've lowered the Saucer Swap interface fee from 0.4% to 0.2%, a 37.5% reduction. That's a lot of percentages, but that's like a fee almost cutting off in half. Not quite, a little less than that, maybe a third. That even seems, well, okay. This change applies to the web app. This aligns us. Do they mean also? I don't know. This aligns us to the industry standard set by Uniswap Labs at 0.25%. Our goal is to always have the lowest fees while keeping operations sustainable so we can deliver the greatest value to our users. So that's nice to see. Nice when you can get that from before. You know, you can get down a little bit. Crypto Wendy is saying, I'm going to need to come up with a fun catchphrase for you guys like I have with Hashpack. Well, I wonder what her fun catchphrase is for Hashpack. I've seen Crypto Wendy talking a lot about Hedera. Not as much about Algorand. Seen a lot about Hedera, which is very interesting. So that is our Hedera news. We can talk about, oops. We can look at some Just give me a second. I'm going to pull up Hedera on price. I'm going to go to full screen here so you can see a little more. That's 1 year. Here's a month. Not so good. But even on the week, like I said, we're up 3.72% on the week. If I go to trading view, what's that going to look like? Yeah. Definitely looking like it's heading down. It actually bounced off the, hold on. Let's go to 4 hour. I always like to go on 4 hour, and yeah, kind of like I said, just like we said with Algorand earlier, we're in kind of that mid range. So kind of a bummer, but not much to get excited or depressed about, you know, just kind of in that mid range, sort of no man's land. You can see I just want to point something out here. You can see the community sentiment is pretty high. It is on Algorand too. Interesting, like stuff like Hyperliquid, even when it's pumping, the sentiment is way down. It's really strange. I don't really understand it. It's certainly making me think that it's not much of an indicator at all. Well, anyway, I think that wraps up our Hedera segment.